Hello everyone and welcome to this presentation on mean absorption coefficient estimation from room impulse responses, where we are going to compare a deep learning approach to the classical Sabin formula from reverberation theory. My name is Antoine Deleforge, I'm a researcher with INRIA, and this is joint work with Cortot Bastien and with Cédric Foy, who is with UMRAE in Strasbourg. After a short introduction, we will present the simulated datasets and the neural network architectures used in this study. We will then show our obtained experimental results, and we will finally conclude this talk and outline directions for future work. Noise disturbance is an important public health concern. It increases stress and creates sleep disorders, which in turn increase the risk of cardiovascular diseases. It also affects speech intelligibility and reduces concentration, which is a particular problem in classrooms, for example. An important means to tackle this issue is to renovate existing buildings. To do this, building acousticians can perform two main types of acoustic treatments. They can reduce the acoustic transmission of walls, floors and ceilings in order to decrease the noise level coming from outside, and they can increase the absorption of inner surfaces in order to reduce the level of reverberation in a room, which will be the focus of this study. Before proceeding to an acoustic treatment in a building, a diagnosis is first required. In our case, this means estimating the absorption coefficients of indoor surfaces. The conventional approach for this is to estimate what we call the mean absorption coefficients of the room. This is done in standardized octave bands, typically from 125 Hz to 4000 Hz. By definition, they are the weighted averages of the individual absorption coefficients of surfaces in the room. These take values between 0 and 1, and they are weighted by the area of each surface in squared meters. Reverberation theory provides approximate formulas to estimate these mean absorption coefficients from measurements. The famous historical formula from Wallace-Sabin and its slightly more precise variant by Eyring. Here, V denotes the room volume in cubic meters, and RT60 denotes the room reverberation time per octave band in seconds. The reverberation time is measured in a standardized way by Schroeder integration on a room impulse response, or RIR for short. By definition, a RIR is the acoustic response of a room to an impulsive point source. The RT60 is then defined as the time needed for this response's energy to decrease by 60 decibels in a given octave band. The limit of these approaches is that they assume a diffuse sound field. This assumption is only valid under homogeneous conditions corresponding to rooms that are approximately cubic and with roughly identical absorption coefficients everywhere. They also require the volume and the total surface of the room, which may not be available in practice. In this work, we investigate the possibility of overcoming these limits by training neural networks to directly map room impulse responses to mean absorption coefficients. The hope is that the nonlinear regression capabilities of neural networks may capture the fine details of these rich signals that are not available in reverberation times only. To do this, we will need a large training dataset of input room impulse responses paired with absorption coefficients. Unfortunately, measuring such a dataset in real rooms would be extremely costly and impractical. Hence, we propose to rely on a room acoustic simulator. This will allow us to obtain an unlimited amount of room impulse responses and their corresponding annotations for free. Moving now to the simulated datasets. To build a room impulse response training set for our networks, two main trade-offs need to be considered. The first one is between the realism of the simulated RIRs and the computational complexity of the simulator, since we want to estimate tens of thousands of them. There are many simulation techniques available, but we found that a good compromise was RoomSim, an open-source shoebox room acoustic simulator developed by Schimmel and colleagues. It combines the image source method to simulate specular reflections and an efficient ray tracing algorithm called diffuse rain to simulate scattering coefficients. In practice, we simulated specular echoes up to order 50 and used a unique random diffusion coefficient for all surfaces in each octave band. The second trade-off to consider is between the diversity of our training set and the capacity of the learned model. Of course, it is desirable to have a very diverse training set in order to deal with as many acoustic conditions as possible. But this implies to increase the amount of training data to make them representative and to match this with a very large number of model parameters. For this study, we choose to focus on housing or office-type buildings. We generated rooms with heights drawn uniformly at random between 2.5 and 4 meters and lengths and widths between 1.5 and 10 meters. This allows us to include diverse and realistic room geometries, including large halls or corridors. We then place an omnidirectional source and an omnidirectional receiver uniformly at random in each room to simulate an impulse response. We simulated 15,000 of them for the training set and 5,000 of them for the development set. We considered two different approaches to sample the acoustic properties of rooms. The first one is the most straightforward. For each room, the absorption coefficients of each of the 6 surfaces in the 6 octave bands are drawn uniformly at random between 0 and 1. This seems very natural. But when we looked at the histogram of reverberation times in this dataset, we observed this. As you can see, reverberation times end up being very concentrated around 200 milliseconds using this approach. This is not really what we see in real room in practice. To correct this effect, we designed what we call the reflectivity biased dataset. The idea is the following. For each surface type, wall, ceiling or floor, we toss a coin. On heads, we draw a single frequency-independent absorption coefficient between 0 and 0.12. This is meant to emulate a typical flat reflective surface made of bricks or tiles or concrete, for example. On tails, we draw a random absorption profile inside a predefined frequency-dependent range to emulate an acoustically treated surface. Here we see the range we defined for floors, based on a dataset of about 20 common absorption profiles. Here, in orange, we see the resulting RT60 distribution. We can see that it is more or less uniformly spread between 200 milliseconds and 2 seconds, which is more typical of real buildings. We now move to neural networks. The first neural network architecture we consider is a simple multi-layer perceptron. We first have a pre-processing stage where the room impulse responses are resampled to 16 kHz, cropped to the first 0.5 seconds, normalized to have a maximum value of 1, and corrupted with mild additive white Gaussian noise with a 30 dB signal-to-noise ratio to avoid overfitting. This results in an 8,000 dimensional input vector. We then have 5 consecutive blocks made of fully connected linear layers of decreasing dimensionalities and of nonlinear layers of exponential linear units. We finish by a sigmoid layer in order to constrain output values between 0 and 1. To train the network, we use a mean squared error loss function on absorption coefficients and the parameters giving the lowest loss on the development set over 200 epochs on the training set are kept. The second architecture we considered is a convolutional neural network. We use the same pre-processing and training procedure, but this time we have 3 convolutional blocks followed by 2 fully connected blocks. The convolutional blocks are made of 1D convolutional linear layers of decreasing dimensionalities, which are followed by nonlinear layers made of rectified linear units and max pooling layers of size 4. We are now ready to move to the experiments and results. We first build a test set using the same simulator, but this time each surface has a random absorption profile drawn from a measured database of real materials. We used 5 different room geometries corresponding to typical real rooms and generated 500 reals in total. We used the 2 proposed training sets to train the 2 proposed neural network architectures, and we compare this to the classical reverberation theory formulas of Sabin and Eyring mentioned at the beginning. Note that the Sabin and Eyring formulas were informed by the true room dimensions, but not the networks, which only use room impulse responses. Here are the mean absolute errors obtained on mean absorption coefficients, represented as bar plots. We can see that by training on uniformly sampled acoustic parameters, we are not able to outperform reverberation theory formulas. However, using the proposed reflectivity bias training set, we get errors 2 to 4 times smaller than our baselines. Since the CNN performs slightly better than the perceptron and Eyring performs better than Sabin, we will focus on these 2 methods from now on. Next, we built a test set to check the influence of the room geometry. We observed that for rooms which are approximately cubic, Eyring performs almost as well as the neural network. This is expected because this is close to the homogeneous assumption of reverberation theory. However, for large flat rooms or corridors, we clearly see the advantage of the learning-based approach, both in terms of mean error and variance. We then looked at the influence of reverberation time. The left section corresponds to rooms with low reverberation times, under half a second, the middle section to mild reverberation times, and the last section to high reverberation times higher than 1.5 seconds. We see that the performance of both methods improve with the reverberation time. This is expected for Eyring, as higher reverberation times are known to create more homogeneous sound fields. For the neural network, a possible explanation is that shorter room impulse responses contain less information. We also checked the impact of corrupting room impulse responses with white Gaussian noise, and here again, it seems that the network is more robust than Eyring. Finally, we performed tests on room impulse responses generated by a different simulator than the one used for training. We used the Pyroom Acoustics simulator, which does not include diffusion, only handles frequency-independent absorption coefficients, and use cardinal signs instead of minimum phase filters in RoomSim. As can be seen in these plots, resulting rears are significantly different. The mean absolute errors made by the CNN significantly increased from 0.026 to 0.085, but they remain comparable to Eyring, which is quite encouraging. This robustness was not observed using the perceptron. This could be explained by the fact that the CNN uses a limited set of filters at the input, which prevents it from overfitting the specificities of the simulator. In conclusion, simulation-based learning seems to be a promising approach for the acoustic diagnosis of rooms from room impulse responses. We showed that by exploiting the fine temporal structures of rears, appropriately trained neural networks can outperform classical methods from reverberation theory in challenging non-homogeneous conditions. We also saw that carefully sampling the acoustic properties of rooms was crucial for this approach to work. In the future, we intend to test the generalizability of methods trained by simulators to real measured room impulse responses. We plan to explore the use of different domain adaptation techniques for this. We also plan to extend our framework to the much more challenging problem of estimating the individual absorption profiles of surfaces in the room using geometry-informed models. Thank you for your attention. I will be happy to answer your questions after the session.